Morning, guys and gals. Froggy here. And what I'm going to do today is make a chassis setup plate alternative that you can do yourself right in your own garage. This is like a setup platform or setup plate or a dead level plane, if you want to use a geometry term. A dead level surface that you can use for measuring things like caster, camber toe, etc. Usually what they sell commercially is like 4 plates or 4 corners that are elevated on some little adjusting legs, and those are great if you've got the money to spend on something like that. But I'm just going to level a place on my garage floor. You can see right now I've already got one for the C5. The C6 has a little bit different track and wheelbase, so I'm going to do it over again, and this time I'm going to use geometry to show you guys and gals how to do it. So first thing I did was I've got a long level, straight edge level, and I put that parallel to the edge of my garage door opening as I drive in, just because that's how I drive the car in. I don't want to have it on that angle or on that angle. So that's my starting point right there. That's the base, and then I'm measuring out from there to do my rear axle line, which is going to be like rear axle base. And the only reason that I'm putting it where that is because this is a place where I can work on the car and I can still shut the garage door. It's far enough in, and it's also far enough back from that post right there so that I can do the car, hopefully. We'll have to try it, because actually I'm thinking the body on the C6 is a little bigger body than the C5, so that might be too close to the post. You know what, I am going to, on the fly here, I'm going to move that back about 6 inches for the C6. Okay, so let me do that and then I'll pick it up. So I've got to get these old markings off the floor, and what I used was racer tape, which is supposed to come off cleaner than duct tape, and it does. And it doesn't look too bad, so now I'm just trying different solvents to get the residue off. I think this is goof off. I tried some purple power, but that didn't work. That's water based. This goof off, we'll give it a try. Okay, so I decided I'm going to take all of this old racer tape off, goof off a green scrubby pad, and then to finish it off, the purple power and paper towels out, all it takes. Give the goof off a little bit of time to work. It's a chemical. Don't be rushing it. Give it time to soften up the adhesive. Well, there you go. I've got 4 nice, clean spots on the floor. And ready to get back to my geometry and my measuring out a setup plate. Okay, so now we're going to draw a line, and this will be our base line. It's like the rear axle. And remember, we backed the whole thing up a little bit because the body on the C6 is a little bigger, and I don't want to be up against that post there. So now we're going to draw our first line. That's the beginning of our diagram for the track and the wheelbase of the car. Okay, so remember, the rear track is 62.5 inches, 31.25 each from center line. So I'm measuring out 31.25 each from center line. See that little cross mark there? Now center line can be anywhere I want it to be. And what I did was I kind of lined it up on a line on that file cabinet there, so that when I'm pulling the car in, I line up the car on the file cabinet, and then I end up in the right place on my setup plate. So now, using geometry, I'm going to draw an arc off that left mark and off that right mark, and those arcs are going to intersect and they're going to form a point where I can draw straight up there and I'll have an exact 90-degree angle. And that's geometry. If one of you guys or gals is a geometry teacher, you can explain that in the comments. I would love to have you do that. So those are my two arcs. You can see my arms are just long enough so that I could use that yardstick that has a hole on both ends, and I held one end down with that little tool and then used my dry erase marker to do the arc there and the arc on the other side. So where they intersect to my center point here, I can just lay my straight edge down and extend that up, and I've got a perfect 90-degree angles all the way up to my front axle. So there's my center line, and now I just have to finish the front axle, and I've got my exact 4 corner points and an isosceles trapezoid. So we know my wheelbase is 105.7. So there, that little cross mark is 105.7. Excuse the noise, my lawn guys are here. So I have to shut the garage door and put the lights on. I think the lighting's still okay. Okay, so now we're going to measure from our baseline, our straight line there, our wheel base 105.7 for the right, that little dot there, see the dot, for the right front, and I already did it for the left front. So that means absolutely we are parallel front axle to the rear axle, because same measurement on the left, on the right side, same measurement on the left side. Parallel to the baseline, the rear axle. Now we're getting close to the last thing. We know our front axle is 63.5, half is 31.75, so we go out both sides of that center line, 31.75. So there's a small carpenter's square that I'll just lay down there to prove that I am 90 degrees and parallel, front axle, rear axle, all good. And I put a little red dot on each one of those corner points, which would be the center of the wheel bearing, or the end of the wheel bearing, not the tip of the threaded part, but however they measure it. I don't actually know how the manufacturer measures the track. Interesting item. If somebody knows how the manufacturer measures the track, is it the center of the rim or the wheel bearings or what? I don't know. But now on each of those points there, I'm going to draw maybe a circle or box, I'm not sure, and that's where I want my wheels to end up. But also, the most important thing maybe is I've got to make sure that I'm level, not from front to back, from side to side, to do camber. So I'll show you how you do that. So an easy way to measure your setup plate to see if it's level is to take two sockets that are exactly the same. They don't have to be the same size, but they have to be the same length. So I got the two biggest ones out of my socket set over there. That's a 1/2-inch drive socket set. And put them at the end of my box level, and let's see how we ended up. We are, in my opinion, and I think you'll agree, we're level. Check it out. So, we ended up being lucky on the front. Now on the back, I'm pretty sure we're not level. But let's find, we got a couple of new points, new meaning new from the C5Z, because of the slightly different wheelbase and track. So let's check the back. So on the back, you're going to see we're a little low on the right rear. Now, somebody might call that close enough, but I'm really fussy about my alignment settings. So what I've got is a piece of sheet aluminum right there that is 1.25 millimeter thick. And the last time I set this up, that was just right to make me level in the back. So I put that under there. And now, probably 1.5 millimeter would have been even better, but Froggy's going to say that's good enough. Let me focus. 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 Oh boy. New camera time. Yeah, well, that's good as it's going to get. Anyway, that's good enough for me. If I ever come across a piece, somebody's selling some sheet aluminum, and it would have to be a big enough piece for the whole tire to sit on, you understand? So it'd have to be about that size. If I ever find somebody selling one that's 1.5 millimeter, I'll buy it. But otherwise, this was good enough on the C5 for me to win 8 championship jackets out of about 12 years. So I think this is pretty good. So, guys and gals, that's how you can do like a setup plate in your garage. Remember, level side to side is what's important. You don't have to be level front to back. Anybody who tells you that has probably never done their own alignment, because they're wrong. Now, so I'm going to paint some little boxes or circles there. I've got my leveler thing when I do my alignment, and I'm going to say good job, got it done. One more thing out of the way for the new car. So see you later. Be safe, have fun, subscribe to my channel if you want more from Froggy, and give me a like if you like it. Okay, Froggy out. Bye-bye. And you geometry teachers, if you want to explain the geometry that I used, go ahead and put it down in the comments. I would love it. See ya. Bye.